Last Sunday, when the aircraft carrier docked at Toulon's harbour, 50 sailors on board were thought to have contracted COVID-19. Now the number of cases linked to the Charles de Gaulle has soared to 660, just under a third of everyone who'd been on the ship. The army announcing on Wednesday that 31 sailors are currently being treated in hospital, one of them in intensive care. Everyone on board the carrier has now been placed under quarantine, but the number of infected is likely to rise yet further, with some 70% of sailors still awaiting their test results. The French Navy's Chief of Staff has ordered an investigation into the source of the contamination.
따라서 우리나라에서는 아직까지 한 명의 신형 코로나 바이러스 감염자도 발생하지 않았습니다.
You might see some limited acknowledgement about what's going on in the country. But I certainly wouldn't expect full transparency from the North Korean government.
There's more evidence that this may have happened in an accident at the Wuhan, I gotta say an accident, but at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Now, they were studying these special kind of bats, which don't live around Wuhan, but about 900 kilometers away, because they thought these could be the sorts of things that there could be another SARS-type outbreak from. And in fact, they were working with American researchers because everybody wanted to figure out how to stop this from happening. Now, diplomatic cables have come out, Paul, which suggest that the State Department was incredibly worried about the procedures at this lab, that they were not following the strictest standards possible, and that something could somehow get loose. Now, this all fits the pattern of what we're talking about. Some sort of bat-based coronavirus gets out of some sort of circumstance, makes the jumps to humans, and then spreads like wildfire. That's where we are.
Taiwanese officials were at loggerheads with the World Health Organization on Tuesday after a crowdfunding campaign splashed the slogan, "Taiwan can help," across the New York Times.
The WHO pushed back against the suggestion that it has excluded Taiwan from the global health conversation, releasing a statement describing how it's interacting with Taiwan through the pandemic.
But Taiwanese officials say the statement paints a misleading story.
Who can help? A white hole symbolizes gaps in the global pandemic response. At the bottom, a blue door represents Taiwan's search for a way out of the crisis. This full-page advert in the New York Times was paid for by a crowdfunding campaign led by YouTuber Ray Du and graphic designer Nie Yongzhen.
The Netcare Group has confirmed the temporary closure of its Kingsway Hospital in Amanzimtoti for new admissions after a patient there tested positive for COVID-19. Unions in the province are worried about the growing number of private hospitals in the province with staff that are testing positive. The hospital, in a statement, says that they're tracing the origins of the exposure to a patient who was admitted through their emergency department.
It's been 3 weeks since Chancellor Angela Merkel announced the initial restrictions on contact. Now they're being largely extended. Social distancing rules will remain in place until May 3rd. Groups will remain limited to 2 people and at least 1.5 meters must be kept from others. From May 4th, schools will gradually reopen, first for school leavers in primary and secondary education. Daycare will remain shut. Religious gatherings will also remain banned, while major events, including Germany's beloved football, will be called off until August 31st.
Tonight, thousands descending on Michigan's capital in Lansing to protest the governor's current stay-at-home rules. Blocking traffic, honking their horns to protest some of the strictest rules in the country. Rules which include bans on all gatherings outside a single household, travel to in-state vacation homes, and the use of motorboats. Also, dramatic reductions in capacity for stores big and small. Out front now, the Democratic governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. And Governor, I appreciate your time. So obviously there are critics who say your order goes too far. They say it's unconstitutional and that it's hurt too many businesses. Why do you think the measures are needed?
Well, let's just look at the fact that Michigan right now has the third highest most number of people that have died from COVID-19.
The aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt, at sea, a symbol of American force as China expands activity in the Pacific and South China Sea. Until recently. Since late March, it has been anchored off a U.S. naval base in Guam, following a coronavirus outbreak on board. Meanwhile, China has deployed warships and its aircraft carrier liaoning to waters between Japan and Taiwan. A Chinese ship was also recently sighted off the Vietnamese coast. And earlier in April, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel reportedly rammed a Vietnamese fishing boat. It's been criticized by the United States, but Beijing describes the incident as a collision.
France is marking 1 year since a devastating fire engulfed the iconic Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Its massive bell rang once to honor the building's resilience and the medics battling the coronavirus pandemic. The French president, Emmanuel Macron, has promised the cathedral will be fully restored by 2024 in time for the Paris Olympics, but renovation work has been hampered by the COVID-19 lockdown.